Do you ever wonder why you're doing what you do in life? Do you wish that you could be really happy and passionate about what you do? Or maybe you already are and you want to expand in a different direction. Hi, I'm Barbara Anne, host of What the Why? I love what I do. A lot of that has to do with my story, my journey to this point in life. And guess what? Everybody has a story. So please join me for conversations with leaders from all walks of life about what they do, and more importantly, why they do it, how they found their core purpose, their passion, their mission in life. And if you're looking for your own, maybe you'll get some great suggestions on how you too can find your why.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of What the Why. If you haven't seen us before, our show features conversations with diverse leaders from all walks of life about what they do and why they do it. And today, I'm super excited to introduce you to Leisa Reid. Maybe you're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, or you feel stuck and you want to get unstuck in your life, whatever that may be, in your company, in your role. And if you've ever thought about talking about it, this is the person you want to talk about how to talk about it. I've heard a lot of my clients lately saying, I would love to be a speaker. Well, let's introduce you to Leisa Reid of Get Speaking Gigs Now and CEO of the International Speaker Network, with a mission to transform public speaking into soul-fulfilling business growth strategy. She is the go-to talk doula, helping entrepreneurs create signature talks and secure bookings for a lifetime. Having rocked over 600 stages, authored 7 books, and graced the airwaves as a podcast host herself, Leisa shares her proven strategies and struggles with others so they can make an impact on the world. You're going to get to learn a lot from this woman, and her contact information is going to be in the comments below the podcast, wherever you're listening to or viewing it. But without further ado, please welcome me in a round of applause, our featured guest today, Leisa Reid, founder of Get Speaking Gigs Now. So yay, round of applause. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, Barbara Ann. It's fun.
Yeah, and we're happy to have you here. You know, we don't have a lot of people who talk about how to talk.
Yeah.
And I know some, but when we first met, instant connection. And of course, as all the people who watch and listen to us know over the past few years, most of our guests really didn't think they'd be doing what they were doing. So the first question we always ask is, what did little Leisa want to be when she was growing up?
Well, I always did want to be a teacher, and I often say I'm a teacher disguised as a speaker. When I was in gymnastics as a kid, I wanted to be a gymnastics teacher, which I did end up doing in college. I thought maybe I'll be a kindergarten teacher. And I thought, oh, those chairs are really tiny. I don't know about that. And, with the little chairs in the classroom. And I ended up in a career in education, and I had some teaching experience. I taught at Cal State Fullerton when I was getting my master's degree. I taught interpersonal communication. I loved it. What I didn't love was the politics and the research. I just wanted to be in front of the class. And so it's not really a shock that I ended up becoming a speaker, who to me is very similar to teaching.
All right. So you move into the speaking realm. That is a very highly competitive environment to be in these days, if you believe what you see on social media.
Yeah,
How
I
did
don't follow. I was like, oh, I don't think of it that way, but that's interesting.
Yeah, as a coach, and some of our viewers that knew that this was coming just because we have relationships, um, we get inundated with, we can help you do this, we can help you do this, do that. Don't trust this, don't trust this. Um, and you just organically went and did it. So let's talk about how you went that route. How did you decide, okay, this is what I really want to do, and how can I, first and foremost, get speaking gigs now?
Yeah. It's funny. Gosh, that's such an interesting question. I always was comfortable speaking. I didn't think I'm going to be a speaker. What happened was I have my bachelor's and master's in speech communication, but that was a long time ago in the 90s, right? Before the turn of the century. And then I went on to a career in, different various positions and own business ownership, ended up becoming an executive leader in a different university and knew that that wasn't really going to be the thing that I was going to end up doing for the rest of my life. And an opportunity came across my lap to work for a personal development company, helping them attract clients. And how they did that, they'd been around for many decades and they're still in existence, was to go and speak, give people an experience of the work that they did that was going to be life changing. And I myself had had some life changing results from the work that I had done with them. And that is how it started. My very first year working with them, I booked 83 speaking engagements on my own in my local area and brought in hundreds of clients to the organization. And then I would just rinse and repeat that again and again. So it wasn't so much about being a speaker. Speaking was the instrument in which, or the strategy in which we used to develop business. And I got really good at that. And I got really good at navigating different types of groups. I would speak to engineers, to moms, to realtors, to entrepreneurs. And I learned a lot along the way. And then people started asking me for help. And then because I had started what's now called the International Speaker Network. I had started that organization, and people in that group were always asking me for help. How did you get on so many stages? How do I get booked? What are you doing? And that is how eventually I created Get Speaking Gigs Now as my business.
Wow. Now, based on your pathway, this was a really entrepreneurial move for you.
Very much so, yeah.
And, you know, how did you find the courage to take this unique and different, less traveled path?
I think it built up over time. You were asking, what did I do as a child? I grew up with my dad as an entrepreneur. He was a hypnotherapist
Oh,
and and among other business ideas that, had varying success, some failures, but what are you going to do? And when I was deciding on my major in college, I said I wanted to be a business major because I want to have my own business one day. I just didn't know what that business was going to be. As you may, I don't know if you can relate to that, but I knew I wanted to do something, and I didn't use the word entrepreneur. I don't think that was as popular back then. This was in the, early 90s, late 80s. And I did have different businesses and different business ideas, and some were full-fledged and some didn't do so well. I got to say, I learned a lot, and some did great. But this was the one, the Get Speaking Gigs Now business was the one where I was like, okay, this is what I really want to do. I wasn't trying to make it work with something else or confine myself into a certain way that someone else wanted to be. This was truly what I felt organically people needed and were asking for, and that I
mm,
was really good at. So that's how it started.
okay. So you decide you're going to do this. You've had experience yourself. People are coming to you for assistance. And you see, okay, there's some entities out there, but you become the CEO of the International Speaker Network. What prompted you to start your own network, as opposed to, say, getting more involved in the existing entities that were out there?
There wasn't really, at the time, this was back in 2013, there was not anything that was close by because we used to meet in person. It was
Okay.
originally called the Orange County Speakers Network because I live in Orange County, California. And we would have the meetings at the office I worked out of, which was right across the street from the beach. So I would have people come from all over. They would drive like 2 hours to come hang out with me across the street from the ocean, Pacific Ocean, and enjoy and make relationships with other speakers. So it became really a passion project. And I remember there was another organization that's still in existence that serves speakers, but they were it was more geared towards keynote. Selling from stage was kind of not okay. If it, like it, I don't know. There was some judgment about that. But I'm like, well, selling from stage works really well. Like I get tons of clients this way, and I know lots of coaches who they would be great on stage. And when we say sell from stage, I didn't mean hit them over the head with, the sales
Mhm.
stick. It's like creating a authentic invitation, making it, you're allowing people to get some value and get to know you and then go, oh yeah, I like that person. I resonate. I think they could help me. That's what I meant when it comes to selling from stage. And there wasn't anyone supporting that type of a speaker at the time.
So you've been on over 600 stages. To the extent that you can share, what are some of the more memorable ones that stand out in your mind?
One was I had I would used to speak quite often, like 60, 70 times a year. Now I speak more like 30, 40. But there was one week where I had two speaking engagements back to back. Like, one was on a Tuesday, one was on a Thursday, something like that. And the first one, I got the address and I went, I knew it was at someone's home, but I didn't know where they lived. And I pull into a trailer park. And I literally gave a presentation in a double wide trailer, Barbara Ann, with like 7 women.
Wow.
Okay. Now, the couple days later, I go to a very high-end, exclusive, private country club this is in Newport Beach, California, valet parking and the whole thing. And the room is full of women who donate a minimum of $1,000 to a nonprofit. And I'm asked to be the speaker. So same talk,
Wow.
same talk. Now, I did for the one that was at the country club. I'm thinking, well, this is great. Everyone's got money. That's not going to be an issue. Da, da, da. I'm thinking, oh, okay, it's be a great place for people who have time and the finances to invest in their personal development. And that's what I was offering at the time. And I did attract one client from that opportunity, and she did go on to spend several tens of thousands of dollars. But at the double wide trailer, 4 women signed up for my workshop, and 4 women spent tens of thousands of dollars at the company. And I say that because do not ever judge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people sometimes think like it's got to be this big thing and this famous people and it's got to be at this amazing place. I'm like, no, you need to be in the right room with the right message, with the right offer, with your prospective clients, like ideal people. You don't know who you're going to ever meet. You don't know who's in the room and you don't judge any of that. And I will never forget that day or that week, I should say. It was a really interesting contrast.
Yeah, but a really, really, really great lesson for
Mhm.
everyone to hear. In fact, one of my own coach clients once said, don't make purchasing decisions with somebody else's wallet, and because you don't know what they can or cannot do.
Yeah,
And somebody else once said, it's about the value that people see in it.
100%.
And it sounds like the women that you were working with really saw the value in it.
Yeah.
So you've now launched that, and then I'm still unclear. So help us understand when the books started coming.
Oh, well, I would go and speak. At the time I didn't have a book, and oftentimes the organizer would say to me, "Well, you can have a table and put your books on the table and sell your books." And I would say, "Well, I don't have a book, but thanks for offering."
Hmm.
I got at one point, Barbara, and I just got sick of hearing myself say that. I'm like, "Lisa, just get a book and then you have one and you can stop saying I don't have one." So I thought about it and it was an interesting event, interesting turn of events when we start to be open to things because I think I was resistant to having the first book because I thought it's going to be a lot of hard work. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how, this was many, many years ago. And instantly I heard myself say that in my mind and I shifted it. And I said, wait a second. What if you found someone who was just going to do all the legwork and all you had to do was write a chapter and it was really easy and then you'd become an author? 2 days later, I'm at my speaker network and a woman who I'd never met before comes to the meeting, stands up, says, I do all the hard work and all you need to do is write a chapter. It's so easy. Who's interested? I'm like, oh, Thank you. I will take that offer. And that was my first entrance into being an author. And one thing I think is important to note is that once you're an author, you can't not be an author. Like you are an author. It's like being a parent. You're a parent, you're not a not parent. Even if your child isn't there anymore, you still were a parent. And then I created my own book after that, my own singular book. And then I wrote this one, and I've been in 9 books total now.
Wow.
But this is the one behind me. I'm pointing for the listeners who can't see. I have a book called Get Speaking Gigs Now, and that's the one I use the most.
All right. So let's talk about that book. I mean, thank you for pointing out to the listeners who are either listening or can't see. Get Speaking Gigs Now. Um, at the risk of asking, what inspired you to write that particular book when you wrote it?
Oh, I did not. I tell you, Barbara Ann, I am surrounded by amazing people. What can I say? I'm surrounded by people who are smarter than me, who have different talents than I do. And I was working with a gentleman who had written multiple books and is just a really, really great marketer. And he and I were working on a project together. And he said, "Well, we need to have you write a book." And this was December 2019.
Mm.
I think we met November 2019. And I went to sleep. I said, well, that's not my focus right now, but maybe next year is what I think I said. I went to bed, and he's one of these guys who works all night long. And I woke up, and in the morning, I checked my email, and there is my book cover in an email. And he said, what do you think about this? And he designed the front and the back of the book cover. And I was like, wait, what? I'm not writing a book. He's like, yeah, I think you do need to do it. And I wrote that book over a weekend and had it
Wow.
in my hands by January 2020.
Okay, wait. You wrote the book in one weekend.
Yes, because here's the thing that most entrepreneurs and business owners, especially coaches, don't always realize. You're probably sitting on a ton of content that you have developed and written, but it's just been only in a certain area. Maybe it was a workshop or it was a course or a talk or a whatever. And I had my 7-step framework that was fully developed. I give this in my speakers training academy. I have videos, I have handouts, I coach on this all the time. And so I used that framework that I had already written and condensed it and shifted it. It's not exactly the same content, but it follows the same framework. And I just repurposed it.
Wow. Okay. Um,
I
and
work really fast.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, you're literally talking a weekend.
Yeah.
You generated a book. Um,
And this was before AI. Now you can do it in 5 minutes.
Interestingly, yes, I just
I did
actually,
really write it. I really did write it.
I- and I believe you. And anybody I think out there who is watching this that knows you, trust your integrity to the extent that, yeah, they believe you too. Especially if they've heard you speak. So let's talk about your 7-step framework and why people want to we want people to get this book. If they're
Yeah.
very serious about wanting to pursue speaking opportunities. I have a client who just told me he's wrapping up a book. Didn't even tell me he was writing a book. He's wrapping up a book and he had so much fun on my podcast. He's like, I want to do more of this. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
It's not what we originally started out for, but you know, great. So
Wonderful.
your strategies. Let's give a high level overview of what people can read about when they go and pick up your book.
Yeah, well, the first one is to get your talk ready to rock. It's very difficult to become a speaker if you do not have your talk dialed in. You want to be at that ready, I'm ready, put me in coach mode. Second thing, and these aren't necessarily in chronological order, it's just these are the things that people would ask me, how'd you get so many bookings? And I'm like, well, what are all the things? Okay, so that's one. Number two, you want to start to develop your speaking gig pipeline. Like, what would that even look like? Where would you go speak? Number three, you want to figure out how to monetize your speaking, not just keynote fees, but how else can you monetize? There's all these different ways. And each of my clients have their own custom way that they monetize. It's not all one way all the time for every single person. So we want to get creative so that you're always monetizing when you share your message. Number four, you want to Learn how to, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to look at back.
Go for
Seven
it.
is always a hard time to remember, but number four, yes, I was correct. Systems to getting asked back again and again. A lot of times people think, oh, I just want to get one speaking engagement. I'm like, well, one is not really going to be a consistent marketing strategy. How do we do this consistently? You need to have a system so that you know what opportunities are correct, so that you show up on time, all these things. Number five, you want to have a speaker sheet that can come in many different forms versus how it used to be. It used to be just a piece of paper. Now it's like, well, it could be digital, PDF, landing page, all these different things. Number six, you got to keep your speaking gig pipeline full because, like I said, just one reach out's not going to do it. It's like, how do you keep it full over and over again? And I've been speaking for over 10 years now, and I speak usually 30, 40 times a year without cold reach out. Number six is like the scripts to actually getting those conversations, getting those bookings on stage. What do you say? How do you approach somebody who has an opportunity? You don't want to seem like salesy, creepy, weird, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. You want to seem authentic and on the same page. How do you start to broach those conversations if you've never had them? So that's the seven.
Awesome. Awesome. And obviously they didn't just come to you in a dream overnight.
No,
A
it
lot
was
of this came.
all based on actual people asking me, what are you doing to get so many bookings? And I was like, well, what am I doing? Like, to me, it's so obvious. This is so easy. But when I really broke it down, I'm like, what are the key things? Like, if I could say, just do this, then what would really move the needle for somebody? And it's all these things. And some of them are consistently, you're always doing. Some are like one and done. Some is like just making some decisions. And sometimes we ebb and flow with our business. Like it's not always the same thing. Sometimes we change programs or we change industries. I've had clients do that where they completely change. They were like, I'm not an accountant anymore. Now I'm now I'm a life coach. Okay, well, let's shift everything then. And that's okay.
Mhm. What would you say is one of your biggest lessons learned as you went on that journey?
I think trusting my own intuition.
Mm.
And that was one of the biggest lessons I learned as a speaker, especially when I was originally speaking on personal development. It's like how to notice that I'm getting triggered in the moment and how do I shift immediately without skipping a beat
Mm.
back to center.
Okay. And how did you learn to do that? As
I got
someone who just got triggered about something over the weekend, full transparency.
I got triggered a bunch of times. No, actually, I went through a pretty intense process when I worked for the other organization. Every talk that I would give, I would it was required that I would send an email to the entire company. How many people were at the event? How many sales did I get? And what are the reasons I thought why I got the results that I did?
Oh,
And it was not to admonish me or anything. It was to get crystal clear on any beliefs, thoughts, doubts, things that could have thrown me off so that I could next time fine tune that, be more aware, be able to shift quicker. And it wasn't a one and done. I know people just want personal growth to be just like, can I just fix this tomorrow? No, it wasn't like
wow.
that. It was a process that took time and a muscle that was developed over time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And see, so you've touched a lot of lives
Yeah.
along the way. To the extent you could share, what are some of your, I hate to use the word favorite, but what are some success stories that, you know, of people that you've worked with? I mean, what you described earlier was great, but success stories of what people have been able to achieve by trusting in you and your guidance and your knowledge and your expertise in this area and themselves.
Yeah, I had one client who comes to mind when you ask that, who is super intelligent, confident. She leads a community of people. They adore her. She's very well respected. And she confessed to me that when she would lead her events that she loved doing, they were not providing the financial return that she
Mm.
was needing. And she's like, if things don't change, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore, even though everyone loves the event. So we took a look at everything, and without going into too much detail,
Sure.
we figured out where she was actually hiding. And she didn't even realize that she was hiding. And this is really common in nonprofit. It's really common for givers. It's really common for purpose-driven leaders, heart-centered people. We just want to give, 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 give. But then our receiving muscle is atrophied and we feel guilty or feel bad or feel like, well, I don't want to take, and those can then hurt your business, which then you can't really help more people if you don't like, so you know, it's like that vicious cycle. So we needed to do some work, and we did right then and there on like, what was that about for her? And how could she share that experience with the audience in a way that was her choice to bring authenticity to her invitation? And she was able to get $18,000 instant sales, no strategy calls, just by that shift.
Wow. Just by being her transparent, authentic self
Yeah.
in terms of what she was doing and what she needed, people stepped up and wanted to
They
support her.
wanted her stuff. She just wasn't comfortable sharing it. And that shows up in ways like I'll see it. I don't know if you've noticed this ever, but like someone will rush through their close or they'll rush through the offer or they'll flip through the slide so fast people can't process or they forget to give them at all or it's confusing. I mean, there's all these different ways that we hide. And we think, well, I gave my offer, nobody took it. I put it on the slide, no one clicked the button or whatever,
Yeah.
went on the QR code. So there's different ways that I will notice that people can hide. Um, we're slick, right? Like our subconscious mind is just trying to protect us, trying to keep you safe.
Sure.
And so um, we want to just hit it off at the pass if we can when
I
we're
love
growing into something new. Yeah.
love it. Um, as we move, and it's hard to believe it, and I always say every time, oh my gosh, we're almost out of time. But as I pointed out, there are some people that actually knew this was coming, including members of my own team. They were like, oh, um, in addition, above and beyond what you have in your book, if there's any advice you have, someone who's thinking about choosing a different path, whether it's this one or a different path from this, what advice would you have for them?
I always say, do what makes your heart sing. I think we know, like you even asked, what did I want to be as a child? I think a lot of times we know what we're supposed to be doing here on this planet. And then we can get sidetracked or get laden with other
Yeah.
responsibilities that take us off path just for various reasons. But when we really listen to that deeper part of our being, it becomes pretty obvious. I've had a client who came to me, she said she has been wanting to be a speaker her whole life, and she's in her 70s now, and she hired me because she's like, if I don't do this now, when am I going to do it? And she's just like, I'm tired of being shy. I'm tired of being quiet and hiding this true part of myself. And that is awesome.
That is awesome. And kudos to her for finding the courage to do that.
Yeah,
Uh,
takes courage to do something different.
yeah. Um, and for those who are interested in doing something different by learning more about how you can help them do it, um, as I mentioned at the very beginning, your information is going to be posted in the chat and comments below everywhere that this podcast is posted, audio as well as visually. But what's an easy way for them to find you that they can hear from an audio perspective right now?
Yeah, they can go to getspeakinggigsnow.com/tips and you'll instantly get 5 top tips to get more speaking gigs and even a bonus. There's going to be a bonus tip in there too for you. So that'll help you out. That's getspeakinggigsnow.com/tips.
Okay. And if people are interested in having you come and speak to them, same place?
Yes, you can go to getspeakinggigsnow.com and there's a tab on there that will say like book Lisa for speaking.
Okay. And then, of course, related to all of it is the International Speaker Network.
Yes, that's at ispeakernetwork.com. Oh, so many different links.
So many different.
You'll find me.
And again, for our viewers and listeners, this information is going to be made available in the links below, where on whatever platform that you are accessing this recording. But we also wanted you to have it in the actual content itself. So, um, Thank you so much for joining me from across the country
Oh, thank you
to
for interviewing me today.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And when you have your ninth and 10th books, we'll have to have you come back and talk about them too. So thank you again. And please, if this is something you've ever thought about, and like I said, some of you actually reached out to me and said, wait, I heard. Yes, you heard, and now you've heard. So definitely reach out to Leisa, check her out. And as I've said from the beginning, ever since we pivoted from our show, our online streaming television show, into a podcast, our guests just keep getting more and more amazing. So we thank you for staying with us and watching us. And if this content is helping you in any way, shape, or form, and you think it can help others, please like and share. There's so many viewing choices out there and listening choices, and it's not lost on us. And we appreciate how much you are putting your energy into spending time with us. And for those who are new or those who just need a reminder, always remember, whether you're looking to make changes in your life, no matter how big or small, tune in again for more interesting, illuminating, and fascinating conversations with guests like Leisa, who decided that her path was going to be a little bit different what she initially thought it was going to be. But in the end, she found her purpose and she lived it.